Let's turn our attention to the Schiller family. Is it possible to balance raising a family with a busy spiritual routine? And if circumstances allow, can parents reach out for spiritual goals, even full-time service? Let's listen to their answers to those questions.
Sometimes people say, well, what was your secret? How did you raise 6 kids? We got married September 16th, 1972. 2 things started coming quickly. Spiritual privileges came along, and the children came along together. I was made an elder shortly after the elder arrangement came into effect. The kids were just part of all that. I think sometimes they didn't know. We were doing substitute work with 5 children, and I don't think they even knew what we were doing. In 1989, we were pioneering, and then we had the opportunity to help out at Bethel, maybe a week or 2 at a time. About that time, Patterson was starting up, and we kind of recognized that maybe we were getting too comfortable. We went in, and one time at Bethel today, if you need a doctor out of Patterson, why, we'd be available. Or we could make ourselves available, maybe. And wouldn't you know it, shortly after we got a call, how quick could you sell your place and be up here? So we went to Bethel with 6 kids, sold our house at a loss so we could do that, and started a new life there. So we learned pretty quick, don't turn down any privileges, and especially not because we had kids.
When we went to Bethel, the oldest one was 17. Having children kept my husband and I very humble, because as soon as you thought you had something figured out, each child need to be disciplined in a different way. And as soon as you thought, boy, I got this figured out, you're thrown a curve.
A challenge was to keep doing the basic things. You'd come home tired. It would be so easy not to have the family study maybe one Monday. It's those basic, simple things that I think kept us on an even keel.
I often think of the illustration that Jesus gave at the end of the Sermon on the Mount when he said that about this foundation that was washed away. And Jesus never blamed the storm. He blamed the foundation. And so we recognize that any child anywhere, in fact even adults, get their faith tested. So we tried to really make sure they had a good foundation that didn't get washed away.
Prepare them. Let them learn how to deal with people while they're under your care, and get them ready for life. We got to thinking other parents require their kids to go to college, so we just required them to pioneer for a year.
Any kind of education, any kind of secular education, can teach you how to have a skill so that you have a job. But the Bible teaches you how to live. And it teaches you principles that you can live your life by.
And all of them kept pioneering. They did various jobs to support themselves. They cleaned, they worked in lumber yards, they worked on roofing. None of them have a complicated life that holds them down.
I wanted everlasting life for my children, and I knew I would have to give them back to Jehovah. We have to realize we don't own our children, Jehovah does. And we have to respect that. We're not telling them what to do anymore. We appreciate and we're very, very thankful when our children, as far away as they are and as busy as they are, that they take the time to communicate with us. And I know you won't remember this, but I remember one time before you fell asleep at night, I said, all that you have done for Jehovah, what would you like in return? Do you remember what you said? You said 3 words, all my children. In
Deuteronomy, it said, I put life and death before you, and you must choose. So we can do what we could as parents, some things good, some things not so good. In the end, each one had to make his or her own decision. And that's why, again, not any secret we did, but we're so proud of what the kids decided and how they turned out because it was their decision. I think that's the thing that we've learned is don't turn down opportunities.
Isn't it wonderful to hear of ones like Brother and Sister Schiller who have offered their gifts to Jehovah? Brother Schiller said that it was doing the basic things that kept his family focused spiritually. So when opportunities came along, he was able to do more. That included pioneering, substitute circuit work, and using the medical training he had already acquired to volunteer at the Patterson Educational Center. Proverbs 10:22 says, "It is the blessing of Jehovah that makes one rich, and he adds no hardship with it." That certainly has proved true for Brother Schiller and his family.